Good afternoon. I'm Troy Parlier, Village President and proud resident of Oswego. I would like to thank Martha for asking me to be part of the Unity Rally for Racial Equality and the opportunity to speak today. When she first called and explained the event, I was eager to speak on the subject, not only as Village President, but as a resident and 8th grade teacher here at Thompson Junior High in Oswego. My wife would tell you I'm eager to talk to anyone or anything, anytime, for hours. Residents in the grocery store, community members at the park, walls in the house, rocks in the street, hair on the floor of the barber shop. Seriously, Pastor Schaefer said the purpose of this rally is to bring our community together and affirm the desire to be inclusive, respectful, faith-driven, and peaceful in taking action toward racial equality. This is a powerful statement, and I'm eager to talk about this. I will start today by returning to my statement regarding the death of George Floyd as the Village President of Oswego, and move to a more personal note as one of the many residents of Oswego. Our Declaration of Independence proudly states that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. George Floyd was certainly not given his unalienable rights. This occurred in Minneapolis, but echoes through Oswego. It demands we review our practices so we never have an incident like this in our village. I firmly believe our police officers in Oswego treat all people equitably and do not abuse authority, especially due to beliefs, race, or ethnicity. Our police department is accredited by CALEA, which is an accreditation body for law enforcement agencies. Few agencies receive this accreditation, and it is very difficult to attain. In fact, the Oswego Police Department is the only CALEA accredited agency in Kendall County. CALEA accredited agencies must undertake rigorous training and are subjected to bias reviews that other agencies are not. Every year, our sworn officers undertake specific training that includes topics such as implicit bias, bias-based policing, de-escalation procedures that mandates the minimization of force, human rights, cultural competency, and procedural justice. Last year alone, our officers underwent 9,000 man-hours of training on these and other subjects, and we invested nearly $500,000 on personnel and time. We take this very seriously. We invest in our police department on these matters because we want to have the highest standards of community safety for our residents and officers. In addition, our officers fully understand that Illinois state statutes explicitly ban the use of chokeholds unless approached with deadly force, and if our officers were involved in an accident or an incident involving serious injury or death, an external agency would conduct an unbiased investigation. Over Christmas break, I was able to spend a day riding around Oswego with our patrol officers. It was a thing, I wanted to do. I had the time. I wanted to see what they see firsthand. We had many calls throughout the day, many investigations, traffic stops, etc., but a few stand out in my mind. The first call of the day was with Officer Justin Pan. It was a domestic dispute between a mother and her teen daughter. Officer Pan quickly assumed the role of a social worker, mediating between the mother and daughter, getting them back together. It was more of an internal family argument than really a police matter. But Officer Pan was very caring and just calmed the situation down, and actually the mother and daughter hugged before we left. The second call was with Officer Rebecca Hayes, and there was a young man struggling at home. He was out of the house, sobbing. He was on his way to work, didn't know whether to go to work, whether to not go to the work. He was put out of the house for the day. And Officer Hayes literally wiped his tears away. She consoled this man to the point where he was able to continue to work. And the third call that really sticks with me was again with Officer Justin Pan. And he had the task of responding to a young man that had his lunch delivered to the wrong house from Uber. So Officer Pan went, picked up the lunch and delivered it, and the young man had his lunch. Now I bring these incidents up because there was common threads to these. All of these incidents were African American residents that had the confidence to call our police department for help in nonviolent, non-policing situations. I believe this tells us more about our police department than any statistic I can share with you. The landscape here in Oswego has been changing, and we celebrate our increasing diversity. I participated in all caravan events this spring, and I was so proud of our community, our first responders, our public works employees. Thousands of our residents over the course of the weeks came out to thank our first responders, and I witnessed the diversity of our community firsthand. People of all races and ethnicities were out together, waving and applauding, many holding signs or waving the American flag. We were all Oswegoans, one unified people. It was a beautiful thing. As many of you know, I'm a teacher at Thompson Junior High in Oswego. We have a very diverse school. Diversity in the classroom creates new learning opportunities. In fact, this past year I had 2 classes that were majority minority students. That was a gift. We had many deep conversations, and those of you that don't like math, we can still have deep conversations in math. Other classes didn't have this opportunity, and I was very thankful for that. In the business community, the last 6 restaurants that opened in Oswego last year were minority owned, representing multiple ethnicities. This investment in Oswego, this confidence that Oswego is a place where their treasure, their hard work, and their dreams will thrive goes beyond words. That is an investment in our community. Yes, indeed, Oswego is becoming more diverse and creates better, stronger fabric for all of us. I strongly believe we were created equal in God's eyes, but I believe equally that we are imperfect human beings. Recognizing this, I propose that bias and implicit bias training continue to occur every year for our sworn officers, but not stop there. I ask all village departments to undertake this training for every employee every year. We provide training for our employees on a regular basis, but these topics should always be included. I am happy to report today that the village has already held departmental discussions on these topics, and research is underway for training to take place in the very near future. Mandating this was important, but it wasn't difficult. I believe government should and must do all in its power to create a caring, fair, and just environment, but government cannot wave a magic wand and through its actions create a new society. This difficult task belongs to us and here in our hearts. My son Quinn graduated as valedictorian from Oswego High School, graduated with honors from the University of Alabama with a degree in civil engineering, and is now serving our country as a young officer in the Navy. As you might imagine, with that background, my background as a teacher and engineer, we've had many long and deep discussions over the years, but there was one simple but profound observation as a child he had that never has left my thoughts. Our children attended St. Paul's Lutheran School in Aurora for several years, but we moved the children to Cross Lutheran School in Yorkville as the family grew to help with transportation issues. I remember when Quinn came home from his first day of 2nd grade. I couldn't wait to ask him how his first day was. I was nervous. I figured he would be nervous. But he had great responses, talked about his classes, his day, and when I thought he was done, he said, "Daddy, where are the brown children?" An observation so profound from an 8-year-old. The joy of the diversity, the children of all colors he experienced since preschool, he had no more. Sometimes we get caught up in seeking convenience for ourselves and unknowingly sacrifice far more important things. Yes, indeed, this difficult task of doing better rests with us in our hearts today. Revelation chapter 7 gives us a glimpse of what heaven looks like through John's visions. It is extremely vivid and equally powerful. Verse 9 from the King James Version says, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands." Yes, despite our different beginnings, we all are equal in front of God. The chapter closes with comforting words. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Until that day, it is up to us to make the world a better place. I'll leave you with a thought borrowed from the late Senator Paul Wellstone. Very few words with a very powerful message. We all do better when we all do better. Thank you, and God bless you.